something that you just dump something on. It's not a big truck. It's a series of tubes.
Hello everyone and welcome back to NETLORE episode 15. We're finally back. God, we really should have just delayed that episode about the 15 pony creator and made that episode 15. What the fuck were we thinking?
Never thought about that.
Either way, we're back, and it's been a couple weeks since the last episode. You know how it goes sometimes, but we're back. More NETLORE, your favorite podcast, your favorite two guys talking about shit on the internet, and let's just jump right into it. So, as you can see from the thumbnail and title of the video, today we're talking about Kim Dotcom, a guy that I've always had my eye on. He's just been on my radar for the past like 2 decades, but I guess the average Joe on the internet probably is not really familiar with this guy, right? Like, you're not that familiar with him, other than the reason people should know who this guy is he's the creator of Megaupload, a site that was quite popular back in the day, let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, you've done the notes for this one, and I've been not super aware of Kim Dotcom, but weirdly, offhandedly recently, someone was referencing him of just like, oh yeah, well, who was that fat guy who got raided by the feds? And I was like, yeah, that's Kim Dotcom. And I think that's, I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but there was one kind of particular point in time where it was very, very mainstream news. But
right. Definitely.
I don't know if people really remember Megaupload, but they definitely know about the follow-up Mega NZ, which...
If you were to know about this guy at all, it's via his file locker endeavors, I should say. It feels like almost like I'm like going crazy. I haven't even say this or think this out loud, but like just in case someone isn't aware, you never heard of Megaupload, or you don't even know what it is, it was what's known as a file locker website where you could just like upload and download files. It's not that hard to understand, but the reason I've been aware of Kim Dotcom is because I was a regular user of Megaupload for piracy-related reasons back in the day. You know, a certain website that I was a regular user on, the one from my famous Soda Steel and Final Fantasy VII Level 99 the Reactor videos, it was sort of a running gag. You know, you could put a password on a zip file and, you know, trade it around and people would never know what was in there. So every upload was called, like, vacationphotos.zip. Like, don't mind me. I'm just over here downloading 40 gigabytes of family vacation pictures.
So what were in them? Or did you never know?
Oh, just games, downloaded games and movies and, you know, whatnot, all sorts of your classic wares and piracy shit.
I actually, for some reason, I just hadn't heard the term file locker before, but I used to use a lot of those sites. There were so many of them back in the day. Like, there was 4shared, there was Mediafire, which is still around.
Everyone could just share shit via like Google Drive and cloud storage, but this used to be like a really useful thing to have to share files around, because it wasn't always easy just to attach big-ass video files and email them to each other, you know what I mean?
And I used Megaupload a lot too, and here's the thing that's funny is you made a video about Mugen, and I was really obsessed with like the custom characters of Mugen for a while, and one of the things about it is that, yeah, there were all these rare characters. I think you mentioned...
People would like hoard their characters. They'd have like little secret little communities,
yeah, so...
or they trade secret characters back and forth or whatever, and yeah, you weren't doing that publicly. You were having like little password protected files on file lockers.
Well, here's the thing. When there were all these file lockers, so I remember that 4shared had a search index, and also there were like public trackers where they would just search the entire internet just for open links to like Mediafire and all of that stuff, and then they would like 4share and they would conglomerate them all into one site that you could just look up. I would just be searching through this file search engine, which again was indexing all these random downloads from the internet. I'd just be searching like, I want rare Mugen characters and rare files and stuff, and I don't remember if I actually found anything, but I remember it was a lot of fun just downloading random zip files. Like, I would just look up character names and be like, maybe this is a Mugen character, and it's usually just like not. It's just some...
Just downloading random shit off file lockers, like maybe this is a Mugen character. That's insane, but that's hilarious.
That's where I was at. The thing is, at some point, I actually did manage to trade something. I don't think it was that valuable, but it was a version of the Death Star that was invincible or some shit.
A question I feel like a lot of viewers or people are probably wondering right now is like, why would you use a file locker in the first place instead of just torrenting like a normal person? Well, I mean, I love torrents. Torrents are great, but I would just say file lockers have some advantages over torrents. You don't have to rely on seeders. The file is just uploaded to a server and you can download it directly and maybe get a faster speed. The thing is, growing up, it's kind of weird. I had good download speeds for my internet, but horrible upload speeds. So I couldn't maintain good ratios on any like private torrent trackers. File lockers just kind of helped me out a bit. Whenever I was uploading a lot of data data, it would make my dad's World of Warcraft lag, and he would like yell at me. He's like, I'm trying to fucking raid Blackwing Lair. Stop fucking up with the internet or whatever. Now that I'm older and I have better internet stuff, I gladly like to seed my torrents, guys. I'm not a bad person, but back then it just wasn't really viable for me. That's one reason I was so heavily involved in the file locker Megaupload like satellite community or whatever of using it.
It was just a lot more convenient. Having like an easy place just to upload. There's no Google Drive. Like Dropbox was pretty like, I don't know, there were things like that, but
it was easier for sharing around to community stuff like that, and we would password encrypt the files. It wasn't as obvious to your ISP that you were like doing anything illegal, so you wouldn't go to those fucking annoying ass, hey, stop torrenting this shit letters. You know those fucking stupid letters they send in the mail?
Yes, dude. I would never seed, because when I did, if I ever kept it up too long, I didn't, because I didn't have VPNs most of this time. It was like one time, I swear it was a Kevin Smith movie. I don't know which one, but I did get one of those letters, and my parents got mad at me.
It is funny. Those letters are specially designed because like people are going to see that shit and be like, what the fuck? Stop doing whatever you're doing. I mean, yeah, they definitely did try to make random examples out of random people. Like they actually would get hella litigious on some people's asses. But for the most part, those were just to intimidate people. And you're right. They didn't care if you downloaded shit, but when you were seeding shit, they didn't like when you seeded shit.
It would be really, really funny if like one of the people they made an example of was like some random like 12-year-old downloading it on his family's computer, like a fucking movie. He's like, that's how the law works, okay? You need to learn your lesson. You owe us $1 million because you seeded it to like 30 people.
The way they calculate damages was so fucking funny, dude. It was like crazy the amount of shit they would say, and it was like they knew it was insane, but like that was the point.
Yeah, it's completely fake. It's just like this bullshit digital scarcity thing where it's like it's just made up damages. It really is bullshit. It's probably one of the most like fucked up, I think, ways that companies and like the people who own all the rights to all this shit, they just punish you for supposedly destroying sales that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Like, I don't know. I really don't believe that at all.
Anyways, for whatever reason, we loved Megaupload back then. We were all fans of Megaupload. We'd all ironically laugh and be obsessed with these shitty ads they used to put out. I don't even know why this was so funny, but this one ad where it was just like, the deal, the turbo. What does this shit even mean? I have no idea. People would just post this like all the time for no fucking reason.
What does this mean?
The thing that people really got a kick out of was the Megaupload song. Now, I'm not gonna make you listen to the whole thing, but we just gotta peep the first 2 minutes of this fucking song.
I actually listened to the song a lot back in the day.
Guys, this one's taken me back. Nostalgic.
Megaupload.
The star power in this video too is
MEGA. Upload to me today. Send me a file. Megaupload. Megaupload. Load.
When I gotta send files across the globe, I use Megaupload.
Megaupload.
When I gotta send files across the globe, I use Megaupload.
Megaupload.
I use Megauploads, man.
And I like to use Megaupload.
Yeah, I like Megaupload. I like Megaupload.
So my favorite thing is it has a bunch of star power, but it's like when you watch the video, he clearly like just, it's like buying a cameo from them and then saying they did a feature.
I know, it literally has cameo. They're just like, yeah, I guess I fucking love Megaupload. God, that fucking Kanye clip gets me every time.
Like, he did not want to say that.
I know, you can like visibly see in his face how little he gave a shit. But this was the anthem, okay? This was the anthem of a generation of file sharers.
Users 1 billion per
The
day.
fucking Kim Dotcom verse.
I know, right?
4% of the internet.
We had to get here. This is what I needed people to get to. 4% of the internet. That's quite a large chunk of traffic.
It's 10 times faster. Bit by bit, unlimited. It's a hit. It's a hit.
It's an intrusive thought. Like 1,000 times over the past decade, I've just been like, unlimited! It's a hit! It's a hit! It's classic. I love that shit.
Hey guys, editor here. I'm just putting this in here to let you guys know that Bernie and Cyber didn't watch the video long enough to see that Diddy is actually in this video, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know what their problem is, but anyway.
There was like some serious controversy over this Megaupload song back in the day. Universal Music Group filed a copyright takedown notice, and so you know how that works on YouTube, the video goes down or whatever, but like they didn't like own the song or whatever. It was a really weird situation where Megaupload, so they were like, well, how are you striking down this video just because it has artists signed with you in it? Like,
they might have one of those contracts where it's like, this person can't sing for anyone else that we don't approve.
Like, it's funny, the thing is, were they even singing? They were like just saying a sentence like, I love Megaupload. Okay, so Megaupload had to file a lawsuit against them because of this takedown. And UMG, they were like, you can't DMCA this, or, you know, you can file a counter DMCA. What UMG said, we didn't file a DMCA. This takedown was under a private contractual arrangement between UMG and YouTube, which they claim gives them the right to, quote, the right to block or remove user-posted videos through YouTube's CMS, content management system, based on a number of contractually specified criteria, which is so vague or whatever, but like basically, yeah, they were just saying they can take down basically any video they want, you know, even if they don't legally own what's in it or whatever. Actually, that claim was so nebulous that a few days later, the video was eventually reinstated by YouTube, but the fact that like, this was like during the peak era of big music companies like UMG, they could just get YouTube to do anything, you know what I mean? They didn't have to have like a legal reason, they could just ask YouTube, hey, take this shit down, and they would.
They definitely had them by the balls, because it's kind of like, imagine if they were like, you look at every single upload of this song on your platform, imagine like the calculations if they like really were angry and vindictive about it.
Right. Dude, you don't want to fuck with these UMG and their teams of high-paid lawyers or whatever. But anyways, all this whole preamble was just me explaining my history with Megaupload, like why I personally, like, to me, Megaupload was like a huge cornerstone of the internet or whatever. But I guess to a lot of normal people, especially nowadays, they probably just really aren't that familiar with Kim Dotcom.
Does he still own Kim Dotcom?
You know, he does. I'll get into this in a little bit, but it used to be go to his personal website. Now it just redirects to his Twitter, which is pretty lame if you ask me. But it's funny, for literally like years and years, I never even thought to check the actual website, Kim.com. To me, it was just like, oh, that's just the guy's name. I don't know the best place to mention it, so I'm just going to say it here. Kim.com is fucking huge, okay? He is a behemoth of a man. He's 6'7" and weighs well over 300 pounds. Like, it's not really relevant to the story, but I just felt like I should clarify for any audio-only listeners that the man looks exactly like a gigantic baby. It's extremely bizarre. I'm not even like trying to, I gladly would shit talk the guy or make fun of him, but like, I'm just trying to be descriptive. The man looks like a gigantic baby.
Oh man.
It's uncanny to the degree to which he does.
I just, you know, you're right. I mean, this is a very vivid image of like, he has like the very innocent, he's a very innocent look to him.
Right? It's like, you know what I mean? There is this one GIF we used to post in any Megaupload thread. Someone would post this one GIF of Kim sitting on one of those plastic lawn chairs and it just like breaking under his weight. And just the way he sprawls out on the ground used to crack me up so much. I've probably seen this GIF, without exaggerating, 10 or 20,000 times in my life. And as a note to the editor, please make sure you let this GIF play out at least 50 times. You can move it to the corner of the screen if you need to.
He has an iconic look. I never thought about how much he looks like a baby, and it's definitely enhancing.
I also couldn't figure out where the fuck to put this just really short clip, but like, there's just this clip of him in a golf cart that I used to love too.
He's like a fucking Team Fortress 2 character.
Yeah! Woo-hoo! Vive la France!
Okay, so yes, as you've noticed and pointed out, quite a name, right? Kim.com. He was born 1974 as Kim Schmitz in West Germany, but he changed his name to .com in 2005. So like, say what you want about the dude, but he definitely understands like branding, you know what I mean? He changed his name to be an advertisement for his website. His website was like a hype site for him. It was like pictures of him with his fancy Bugattis and his fucking supercars and shit like that. And his site was basically just like, look at all the cool stuff I've done.
I mean, Megaupload had a really distinct aesthetic. That's definitely something you gotta give it credit for.
Oh, I actually love the style of Megaupload. It is like emblematic of that era of late 2000s, maybe even like, you know, earlier style of just aesthetic design. There was some great aesthetic design on his personal website back in the day. You know, I wanted to have more things to show about his old sites, but unfortunately, and not that this is a bad thing specifically, but like both of his old sites were very heavily based in Macromedia Flash, using Flash menus and Flash this and Flash that. So a lot of it hasn't been archived super well. There is this one Flash animation I think he commissioned. I think he did a lot of commissioning stuff, but there's this one Flash animation he commissioned that used to be on his site called Kimball Special Agent. I don't know if we want to play the whole thing, but it's just...
let's watch. We can 3, 2, 1 it.
Kimball Special Agent.
If you ever had seen a Flash animation in the late 90s, they were pretty much all like this.
He's gonna kill Bill Gates?
Yeah, I believe the official title was Kimball Whacks Bill Gates. Oh yeah, and I think I mentioned this, but before he went by Kim Dotcom, his online handle was Kimball, like Richard Kimball from The Fugitive, I guess, but also just, Kimball.
He's in the mega car.
This was from 1998, but like, the mega car, and then he also gets in the mega boat, so like, mega was clearly part of like, a branding thing that he's had in his head for, his whole life, I guess.
I don't get why he commissioned this.
Because it makes him look like a badass. He's on Microsoft Mountain, except I think that's supposed to be a skyscraper, but...
No, please don't shoot me!
This is some real netlore, like I was trying to say. If you weren't around back then, you don't know how many Flash animations like this you missed out on. Look, you think he's gonna kill Bill Gates, but he just shoot around him into word Linux, and Bill Gates pee himself.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
He fucking shot the word Linux around him, and then he pissed him.
Classic humor back then. So, early era Kim Dotcom, this was a guy known for making a lot of bullshit claims, to be perfectly frank. Like, there's this one time in a 2001 interview with Telegraph, he just claims, oh yeah, like one time we hacked Citibank and transferred $20 million to Greenpeace. People like asked Greenpeace about that, and they were like, yeah, that never happened, you know what I mean? It's kind of a weird thing to lie about something so like obviously verifiably false, but I don't know. And after 9/11, he created a group called Young Intelligent Hackers Against Terrorism, or YHAT, and made some unsubstantiated claims about hacking Sudanese bank accounts belonging to Osama bin Laden. It was one of those classic things where after 9/11, everyone got super patriotic all of a sudden. Like he was offering a $10 million reward on his site for any information leading to bin Laden's arrest. He was a true patriot, even though he was like not even American, I guess, but he's against terror.
He's trying to put on the image of like a very in the know hacker kind of type. Mm-hmm. He's trying to hype himself up too.
Yeah, he was building an image for himself. It was actually really important. That's why he had the Kimball site. It was all about branding and stuff, which, you might think, oh, that's just vain. It's just stupid. Actually, what did end up being kind of important, back in just the early 90s, before even Kimball.org, he was just known as this loudmouth teenager in the hacker scene, the German hacker scene, making all sorts of claims like, oh, I've bypassed the security of NASA and the Pentagon and stuff. I'm not saying he had zero skill or anything like that, but he was more known as like, has a reputation of like a script kiddie where he would just use someone else's creation to bypass the network rather than doing the real brute force hacker work himself. But back in the day, he was known for operating a BBS forum called The House of Coolness, which was a wares den, basically. It was just another one of those sites where people would share and trade pirated software or whatever. But in 1993, the site was targeted by a German copyright lawyer named Günther Freiherr von Gravenruth. He was known for like targeting young kids and then hitting them with like lawsuits or whatever.
Very German name.
Very German name. So this guy, this German copyright lawyer, allegedly got into contact with Kim, but rather than going after Kim for hosting this Ware site, he had Kim work for him as a paid informant, supplying him with the names of other figures in the pirate BBS scene. Now, this isn't something I can objectively prove, and it's something Kim still denies to this day, but there's quite a lot of apocryphal evidence.
The snitch allegations?
Yes, suggesting that he was logging the traffic of his BBS users and sending the logs to Gravenruth for cash. He was snitching for money. Again, allegedly.
That's not good. Listen, if he's just the boss, he's gonna get his hands dirty, he's paying other people to do the work, that's one thing, but if he's selling them out, that's kind of fucking dirty.
Again, we don't know for sure. Not entirely related, but years later, this Gravenruth fellow would be convicted of fraud in 2010 and sentenced to 14 months in prison, which he would expertly dodge via the tried and true method of killing himself.
Whoa.
Yeah. Kim's image at the time, again, I can't personally verify, this was not in the German hacker scene in the 90s, but apparently he became a widely reviled figure. In 1994, Kim's home was raided by the police and over $80,000 worth of computer equipment was confiscated. And he was arrested and charged with selling stolen credit card numbers, but more specifically, stolen phone calling card numbers. That was apparently a big scam he had going on the day. He was using phone calling card numbers to spam a bogus party chat line he made, which was, it was some convoluted thing, but it ended up making him quite a lot of money back then. 1998, he was arrested again and convicted of computer fraud and other hacking charges, including embezzlement, but he only received 2 years probation. Now, you'd think arrests like that would really hurt his career, but it actually gave him hacker cred that he used to promote his security company, Data Protect, because this was during the period of time when hacker mania, people were just finally, normal people were becoming aware of shit like that. So he was able to drum up a bunch of hype around it and sell Data Protect to some German conglomerate company. So he would use that money as seed money to make even more money during the initial .com bubble. So he was already pretty wealthy before Megaupload, but I wouldn't necessarily say he was a genius businessman. Get a load of this plan of his back in 2001. He bought 375,000 euros worth of some basically worthless stock of a bankrupt company called letsbuyit.com, which he then publicly announced his plans to invest 50 million euros in it, causing the stock price to spike, which net him 1.5 million euros in profit, which was basically just classic pump and dump insider trading bullshit. So, he took his millions of euros and moved to Thailand to try and lay low, but was eventually arrested and extradited back to Germany in 2003. Now, according to Wikipedia, in response, he allegedly pretended to kill himself online and declared through his website that he wished to be known as His Royal Highness King Kimball I, ruler of the Kimpire. Now, I swear to God, a few years ago, I had my hands on this suicide baiting statement, but I can't find it online anymore. He did spend 5 months in jail awaiting trial, but once again, he was not sentenced to any jail time. He received a suspended sentence for 20 months. So after all this legal drama bullshit, he changed his name because I guess he decided his name Kim Schmitz was disgraced and he didn't want to do business under that name anymore. He changed his name to Kim Tim Jim Vester and moved to Hong Kong.
What?
Apparently, I can't even confirm this, but apparently people were saying the reason it was so weird is so he could show up to meetings and be like, oh, I'm Jim Vester or oh, I'm Tim Vester, you know what I mean? So it was he could have multiple personas. I don't really fully understand. I just thought it was a funny factoid that legally his name for a while was Kim Tim Jim Vester. So yes, like I said, he moved to Hong Kong in 2003, and this is actually where he met up with one of his old hacker buddies, and he began creating what would become known as Megaupload. And then a couple years later, 2005, he did eventually change his name to the iconic .com. So the Megaupload years themselves were from 2005 to 2012. And, as mentioned during the song, apparently during its peak, Megaupload literally made up about 4% of internet traffic. They were pumping huge files back and forth all over the place.
Yeah, I can believe it. It's just, it was hard to find free upload space. So it really was every community at a certain point was using it.
If you wanted to share any sizable file, Megaupload was a very common way to do it. Apparently it was the 13th most visited site on the internet at its peak.
There were a lot of shitty scam feeling file locker stuff. So
yeah, say what you want. Megaupload was a perfectly functional, good file locker, not like a lot of those other shit ass file lockers.
It's a hit.
But yeah, God, they were making a shitload of money, dude. Megaupload, he was flush with cash. He made $40 million or something in 2010 alone. I'm not sure. It's kind of actually hard to find concrete figures on all this stuff, but apparently during his peak, he was worth $200 million. And it's one of those things where it's if Megaupload didn't get raided and he was able to take it public and stuff, he could have been a billionaire, basically. At the time, he was living in this fucking ungodly huge mansion in New Zealand, which I think was also worth $30 million. The mega mansion or whatever, yeah. He had a very lavish lifestyle, let's put it that way.
This is a fucking insane property.
I know, right, dude? His mansion was fucking bananas. It's crazy. There's some video on YouTube where they do a tour of his little mansion, including the panic room where he was found by police.
Explain to people who can't see. It's huge tennis court, a hedge maze, a fountain, a pool, and then it's the whole thing looks like this kind of, I don't know how you describe it, but
the hedge maze is what gets me. It literally looks like it's some shit from a video game or something. I don't even really know. He had an indoor lap pool, so a really, really long pool. It's just one lane, you know what I mean? There's a lot of crazy shit on the inside of this house, but whatever. We're not here to do a crib tour or whatever. Well, okay, look, dude, the goal of fucking NETLORE is we gotta get so rich we can buy the Kim Dotcom mansion in New Zealand and live there and produce podcast episodes.
Kim Dotcom mansion looks it has the architecture of a Gmod map. It's bizarre.
It's crazy, dude. This was his iconic Mega Mansion or whatever, the Mega Upload Mansion. Yeah, okay, as I mentioned briefly, the Mega Upload, the site itself, was legally based in Hong Kong, which is kind of important, you know what I mean? Like, if you lived in Hong Kong and you tried to access Mega Upload, you just couldn't. You were like hard blocked. The Hong Kong government didn't like this. They implied that the site was blocked in Hong Kong to make it harder for local law enforcement to do their job or whatever when they came to actually investigating the site. I don't know, dude. There's like a million things I probably could say or that went on during the peak era of the Mega Upload years.
It's older than I thought it was when it shut down. Like, I didn't know it was made in 2005.
Yeah, I think it took a little while to really start popping off, but that is technically when it started. I remember using it in like 2006, early on. But either way, obviously a lot of crazy shit happened during the peak wealth years, but let's just skip right to the exciting part, which is, you know, the end of the Mega Upload era. And you know, there's something that fucking haunts me to this day. I'll never forget this. It's something I literally will like just randomly have an intrusive thought of and like get chills because it embarrasses me so much. I had a friend who did a good amount of pirating. Like, he would just pirate like huge amounts of stuff and throw it on an external hard drive. And what he would do is he would buy 1 month of Mega Upload Premium and, you know, download a ton of shit and then like take a while to like, you know, watch or play it all. But he'd done that quite a few times, you know, paying for 1 month of Mega Upload Premium. And at one point he's like, should I just get one of the lifetime Mega Upload lifetime accounts? They only cost $199. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, you know, it's definitely cheaper than buying 1 month over and over again. I basically encouraged him to do it. Like a week later, on January 19th, 2012, the site was shut down by the FBI and they were not issuing refunds for lifetime memberships. It was actually really surreal going to this site that was like a cornerstone of the internet and there was just this takedown banner.
The FBI notice. That's like a scary thing. I actually saw this too on the file locker index that I was talking about earlier. It's a white page with just this image from the FBI.
It says FBI anti-piracy warning. It almost reminds me of those creepypasta anti-piracy video game fucking memes people are going apeshit about. Yeah, I guess if you didn't know this story, I'm almost talking like this was everyone already knew this fact, but Mega Upload was shut down, seized by the feds, and they were charged with all sorts of shit related to the fact that, you know, they were trafficking copyrighted materials. Let's put it that way, you know what I mean? It's crazy though, dude. Like, there was a shitload of pirated content hosted on Mega Upload, and like everybody knew it, right? But like, that doesn't matter. The important part was like, could they actually prove that Mega Upload executives knew that there was pirated shit? Turns out the answer is fucking yes, because they were not chill about it, okay? They knew what they were doing.
I remember it was like there were emails or something that proved it.
Exactly. If you knew you were running a piracy empire, maybe you should be a little low key about it, but like there were internal emails from the executives talking about how they illegally downloaded episodes of The Sopranos from Mega Upload and shit. And there was one quote where some guy was like, wow, modern day piracy, what an interesting business we have. It's like, they knew what they were doing and they were fucking talking about it, which was like, oof. So they raided his house. They did this big fucking raid. I'll talk about more of that in a second, but it was during his birthday celebrations so they could nab some other guests as well.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was on his birthday.
It was during his birthday so that they could nab the CTO, Matthias Ortman, the CMO, a guy called Finn Botato, and the programmer in charge, a guy called Bram Vanderkolk. There was so much crazy shit, like, as I briefly mentioned, he's a guy who collected cars, you know what I mean, like luxury cars, Mercedes-Benz. Authorities seized around 30 luxury cars and motorcycles, including a number of Mercedes-Benz. He had cars with the novelty license plates like hacker, stoned, mafia, and fucking guilty. He had a license plate that just says guilty on it.
Dude, these photos are crazy. Like, holy shit.
I don't know why the guilty one is sending me, man.
What is he wearing? He has like a helmet on. He has like a fucking shotgun.
He's defending his rights. I couldn't tell you the origins of this particular photo shoot, unfortunately.
And he's a fucking badass. In that first photo where it's like the good and evil novelty plates, he kind of looks like Rocco from Mega 64.
I kind of see it, actually. Just the pose and the energy. It actually is kind of Rocco-esque. But yeah, it was quite the scene. You know, FBI and foreign authorities seized like 60 bank accounts, a bunch of PayPal accounts. They had just tons and tons of money scrolled away.
Now, I remember, the first thing I guess is like, I remember Mega Upload shutting down because there were so many lost files because of that.
That was it, dude. We were crying. And we would, again, like I mentioned, we were joking like, my vacation pics, I lost my vacation pics forever. And the funny thing is, there's literally probably are some people out there who literally were using Mega Upload for actual legitimate reasons. And they never did anything wrong. They just wanted a place to like back up their vacation pics for real. And all their shit got deleted.
And they're lost forever. It's just gone
exactly,
forever.
No, yeah. But anyway, so something kind of interesting is, Kim would end up using the footage of the raid for a music video on one of his original songs posted to his YouTube channel, which you have to admit, you can just, I don't know if we have to play the whole thing, but just at least skim through this video, the raid, and just seeing like all the officers coming into his place, and like, it does go a little hard, I will say. But there's something that's just like seriously hilarious about like this visual of 76 fucking officers doing this armed raid with their fucking machine guns, these 2 helicopters against a non-violent copyright infringer. You know what I mean? A guy like Kim Dotcom. They're like coming at him like he's literally a mob boss or something. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess he like owned guns and stuff, but
he did have a couple guns, so I guess I understand theoretically why they did it. But like the way they're coming in though, they actually had to do was cut their way into his panic room. He was hiding in there for like half an hour before they could finally arrest him. Although I will say, if you just jumped right to the end of the video, it says alternate ending. His face edited over, you know, Tommy from the classic "Say hello to my little friend" scene from Scarface, which is like, what are you saying? You're like depicting yourself killing agents theoretically in a way.
I guess just for a little context, I guess too, for the time period.
This was during the height of the SOAPA and PIPA protests, the SOPA and PIPA. This was a huge fucking deal. You could not avoid this shit back on the internet. Back in January 2012, people were freaking out over these 2 bills, Stop Online Piracy Act and the Protect IP Act. It was all over Reddit, every subreddit, even Google blacked out their logo.
Yeah, there was a big blackout of everything.
This was a huge fucking thing, as you were saying. Like, the tension of the internet was going crazy because of these bills. The timing of this raid, it felt like the government was like, oh, I don't know if we can get them, but we can at least fucking fuck over these Megaupload guys. In retaliation, like, this dates the story almost more than anything. So in retaliation, the hacker group Anonymous retaliated. Remember Anonymous with the Guy Fawkes masks? This is back when those guys were a thing. They launched DDoS attacks on a number of US government websites like the CIA, FBI, DOJ, as well as a bunch of other sites like Universal Music and the MPAA and RIAA, knocking them offline. Some of these sites like CIA.gov were down for multiple hours, and some of them were actually hacked and defaced as well. Apparently, the US Federal Trade Commission site was defaced and replaced with the classic "This is Legion," you know, type bullshit, as well as linking to a paste bin leaking the complete list of login details and password hashes.
Was this the OG like original Anonymous that like got busted by the feds?
I think so. I think this was the era of Anonymous that was like, oh, we're going after Scientology and all that. I don't know why I make him sound like that. Anonymous was going fucking sicko mode on the whole internet. This random Utah fucking chiefs of police website got caught in the crossfire. Their site got fucking hacked and the Megaupload fucking logo was like plastered all over it.
Greetings, world. We are anonymous.
Even if you never used Megaupload, you know, hopefully I'm painting a picture here with just from the blowback alone, you can sort of understand shutting it down was such a big deal. People on the internet were freaking. Okay?
Yeah, this was
seriously was like kind of a big deal at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this was like one of the earliest like internet culture war things where like everyone was like, we need to protect the internet. Everyone riled around SOAPA.
Because of the SOAPA PIPA thing, it really was like, we have to save the internet from the government. And then the Megaupload shit was going down.
It wasn't all unjustified. A lot of shit could have happened in that, like in terms of regulations. I don't know.
Right. Kind of hilariously, the prosecution really fucking dropped the ball when it came to like prosecuting him on multiple fronts too. So they did all sorts of shit. They illegally transferred evidence to the United States. There's a big hullabaloo about that. New Zealand's extradition treaty, it turns out, doesn't cover copyright infringement. So they needed to prove more serious RICO criminal conviction type stuff. Furthermore, the New Zealand government admit that they illegally surveilled his home. I guess it was some shit where it was like they were spying on him with a branch of the government that's supposed to be about like foreign affairs. And it was like, oh, he's a foreigner, but he was a resident.
Well, it's not illegal in the US, so.
A funny little detail, though, was he actually noticed something was up in the weeks before that he was getting illegally spied on because he noticed something was wrong because he was getting a massive ping spike in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 from like 30 milliseconds to 180 milliseconds.
The classic. He was just like your dad. Who is downloading shit on the mega Wi-Fi?
Exactly. Who's torrenting? Who's uploading shit? I pay for the best internet possible, and something is fucked up. And it turns out it was literally because they were like spoofing and copying all this fucking internet traffic. So this is sort of skipping forward a little bit on the timeline, spoilers, but let me just preemptively answer the question that Kim Dotcom has not spent any time in jail. He's not been sentenced to anything specifically for the Megaupload related crimes. That is still an ongoing legal process, you know what I mean? It literally took over a decade, but less than a year ago, on the 15th of August, 2024, he finally had his extradition order like signed to the United States so he can face trial for his crimes against copyright. As of right now, at the time we're recording this, he's still in New Zealand, I believe, living and appealing the decision. So the extradition order has finally been signed, but it still could be like multiple years.
So it's still ongoing?
It is still ongoing. Of the other 3 men arrested, Batato died of cancer back in 2022, so the U.S. dropped extradition treaty against him, obviously. And the U.S. also dropped extradition against the other 2 guys, Ortman and Vander Kolk, because they reached a plea agreement with the New Zealand government to face prison time. In 2023, they were sentenced to 2 years, 7 months, and 2 years and 6 months, Ortman and Vander Kolk, respectively. Both men only actually ended up serving 13 months before being released on parole. So obviously having to spend a year in prison is not ideal, but considering if they were extradited to the United States, they would have faced possibly decades behind bars. I think those guys got a pretty good deal. Kim faces up to 55 years in jail if he's convicted on all charges, which is kind of crazy. The man literally just operated a file locker.
There are instances, sure, where like piracy is harmful. I guess someone just distributing it easily where you never have to pay for it. Yeah, that could fuck with your shit, but it's also like, that's so insane. Like, they're still trying to extradite this dude. Like, I don't know.
It's crazy how long legal shit can take, dude. It actually blows my mind that like, this is like...
How much money are we like throwing into this fucking hole? Like, this is just a thing that's happening just for the sake of like the bureaucracy of it. It's been like 10 years. How much more damage has been done in that time period?
It's literally just U.S. government swinging its big dick around, trying to be like, we're going to punish you, we're going to make you pay. As you also pointed out correctly, a year after the raid, 1 year to the day, on January 19th, 2013, Kim launched his new file locker service just called Mega. Now, I'm not really a tech understanding type of person, but apparently the major difference with this iteration was that it's end-to-end encrypted, which is like, they can't view the content, so which gives them more cover, you know what I mean? Less liability when it comes to trafficking copyrighted material.
The way Mega works is that when you upload a file, it's like encrypted with some hash, and when you send the file to people, you can give them that hash to unlock the file, but anyone without the hash can't, and Mega server side does not have access to that. However, it's not like you can just upload like fucking CP there, like they can scan that with the hash.
Yeah, that was actually a point in the case against them, the government was saying, which they actually had quite a robust system set up to detect and delete CP, but then they had nothing in place for dealing with copyrighted material. If they ever were served a DMCA takedown, they never didn't take shit down when they were told to take shit down, you know what I mean? But the amount of takedown notices would never come close to the amount of copyrighted shit on there.
There's a level of plausible deniability you can have legally, and I think the way they structured it now is really smart, but definitely you can't claim ignorance after a certain point, especially if you've admitted it to it.
Especially when they have all these emails and whatnot of you talking about how you know what's really going on. So there was a huge like party at his mansion or whatever during the Mega launch event. The video is like an hour and a half long, obviously I'm not gonna make you watch the whole thing. There's a great stunt, I'll just spoil that part. It's a very funny moment.
We had over 500,000 registered users. That is not bad for a small Kiwi startup.
I wish we were invited to this. Oh man, they're doing the fake raid.
Yeah, he's doing the fake FBI raid as a gag 1 year after he was actually raided by the FBI. The helicopters and people fucking rappelling from his roof.
Stop this madness! Let's all be friends!
Stop! Stop this madness!
Sorry, I just had to get to the part where he was like, can't we all just get along? I don't know why, I just felt like that was very important. So Kim launched Mega, but by the end of the year, by September, he would step down as director, and by 2015, he would completely sever all ties. He's not related to the current iteration of Mega, other than he started it. So he's related to it, I guess, but like...
That's what I was gonna ask, because yeah, I've heard that he's not really involved with it, but it's
he very quickly stepped down. I'm not 100% sure if it was just because he needed to focus on his legal shit, but apparently the stated reason was he wanted to focus on his political career, because in 2014 he started a political party in New Zealand called the Internet Party, which was primarily concerned with internet freedom and privacy. Here, there's a little video of him announcing it.
Hello and welcome to the Internet Party. I'm glad to see you here. My name is Kim Dotcom, and I'm here to introduce you to a new political party that New Zealand really needs. We need to be strong in
The video is mostly just normal, but then like halfway through, or like 20 seconds through, there's a part where he just has an Obama impersonator be like, oh, that's right, Kim.
Kim, I agree. Privacy and internet freedom are paramount for our digital future.
What the fuck? He doesn't even sound like him. He just kind of looks like him a little bit.
That cracked me up, but I was like, whatever, that's a little weird, but it's not that weird. But he also used the Obama impersonator and a guy playing the Prime Minister of New Zealand to shoot a little, like, short film, I guess you could call it, on his YouTube channel called Project Manifesto, where Obama and the Prime Minister sneak into his mansion, and then he reads them the Internet Party Manifesto, and then they all love it. They love how great it is.
You can turn water into Bitcoin?
Yep.
This is some revolutionary, groundbreaking stuff.
I don't know, I just came up with this over the weekend. As long as we get 5% of the vote, I will be happy.
5%, no. I think we can dream a little bigger.
Anyways, of course, the Internet Party ended up getting 34,000 votes in the 2014 general election, which is not nothing, but it was not quite enough to secure a single seat in Parliament. So, unfortunately...
It's like uncanny how much this guy does and does not look like Obama. It's like really weird.
You know what? It's funny what made me do all this research into this fucking stupid short film was I saw a picture of Kim and Obama next to each other. It was like really low res. I was like, what the fuck? That would not have happened. Obama's not just gonna be chilling next to Kim Dotcom. You know what I mean? So like, what the hell is this from? And then I was like, oh, it's an Obama impersonator from this fucking video. Yeah, so his political aspirations, he wasn't specifically running himself, but he was like funding the party, and like, I just thought his political career deserved a little mention. And another interesting thing that happened, I'll try and keep this aside quite short. On Christmas Day 2014, a hacker group known as Lizard Squad launched a massive DDoS campaign against PSN and Xbox Live. So like, it was peak holiday, literally Christmas and Boxing Day, and you couldn't play online games. Like, and I guess they were probably losing a lot of money. The weird thing is, there was a peace summit held by Keemstar that Kim Dotcom attended, like a digital one, obviously.
My two heroes meeting, yes.
Kim offered Lizard Squad 3,000 lifetime accounts for Mega, worth $99 each. Technically, I guess you could say $300,000 worth of Mega accounts. And I guess that worked, because I think they did back off after that. So, appeasement works. I think he was just involved because, like, he just wanted to game. You know what I mean? He just wanted a game. And he was like, stop this shit. I'll give you a bunch of accounts if you stop fucking with my game.
That's the thing. You know, that's what I respect. You know, you said he had political goals, but it's all internet, really. He's very simple goals. He just wants to be an internet, like, cool guy.
I guess you could say that. Well, that sort of segues into what's Kim Dotcom up to right now. Well, long story short, he basically just posts on Twitter as like a pro-MAGA, pro-Russia, crypto shill fucking shithead guy.
Well, that's the coolest guy to be right now. In
I guess so. I guess that he is just angling for, that sphere of grifting. But his pinned tweet, he got in a lot of trouble for this last year. His pinned tweet, I guess he didn't get care as much as he did because he's still doing it. It's still his pinned tweet. It's a massive anti-Semitic screed, literally talking about the protocols of Elders of Zion, which is like...
Wait, really? He's like that now?
Yes. Again, protocols of Elders of Zion, we don't need to get into the anti-Semitism lore, but it's like it's like the oldest debunked fucking thing, whatever.
We're gonna do a NETLORE on that, guys, don't worry.
It's so funny. He's like, I'm not anti-Semitic. When he got into hot water back in like 2014, because he owns one of the rarest pieces of Nazi memorabilia. He owns a signed copy of Mein Kampf.
What?
Which he claims he bought purely as a financial investment because it's going to go up in value, which he's probably right about that part.
How do we know it's real? How do we know he didn't just get because he's a faker. He fakes stuff.
No. 2 copies of Mein Kampf signed went up for auction, like in a reputable source, and he bought one of them.
Oh my gosh. That's honestly, I didn't expect that at all. Now I regret what I said.
That's why I was trying too hard not to paint him as being too based. It's crazy, man. Okay, here. This is the final transition point of the podcast. Forget about all that. Forget about the multi-million-dollar fucking fraud, the racketeering, the international legal drama, the anti-Semitism. It is time to get down to brass tacks. I want to focus on the one true measure of a man, the final, most important question of this podcast. Did Kim Dotcom cheat at video games? Now, let me be clear. I don't believe this is some sort of Elon Musk situation where he just completely sucks shit. He's not good at video games and he just pays people to like boost him. I don't believe that's the scenario. I do believe he is genuinely good at games. He was making millions and millions of dollars, so you can't say he didn't have plenty of time to sit around playing games. Now, What got me thinking about this was actually a fucking Kotaku article from 2012. But first, let me say, if you're like me and you've read a lot of articles, a detail that comes up a lot in the mainstream media articles about him is how he was the ranked #1 in the world in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 out of over 15 million players. Like, people will repeat that line over and over again. And he actually only slipped to rank #2 after his arrest, and he had to spend 4 weeks in a jail cell. You know what I mean? After the raid on his mansion. This is a great video. This one, forget about all that bad stuff. This is just a classic Kim Dotcom moment. He has a video on his channel about the moment he became #1 in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. You ready?
Modern Warfare 3 sets an enormous new record.
The most successful entertainment franchise ever.
Did you ever play, were you much of a COD gamer, Bernie? Because I'm going to be honest, I was not the biggest COD gamer.
The only COD game I played was, I think, World at War, because I played zombies.
I played COD 4, the first Modern Warfare, obviously, when that was a big deal. And it was a good game. I'm not a COD hater, but I was just more of a Halo guy. We got behind the head footage of him gaming hard. His online handle, Mega Racer. Look, you got the TV on the second monitor with the time lapse showing he's gaming for hours and hours on end. Oh yeah, he cracked the #2 spot. The #2 spot on the worldwide leaderboard. Look at him go. This is a gamer in his natural habitat. I can't tell if like the air horn stuff is like a parody or this was back when that level of editing was sincere. Look, okay, here's the moment. He got #1 and then he had his friends bring out a cake with his gamer tag on it that is shaped like a #1. Also, they covered the cake in confetti. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Look at him. Look how happy he is. Woo! All right. So, not to immediately be discounting his achievements here.
Come on, you can't stay mad at this guy.
He was #1 on the leaderboard. He was #1 in the world on the free-for-all leaderboard. So that means he had the highest cumulative number of points. Now, does that actually mean he's the best player in the world? He didn't have the best KDA. It's not like he was out there winning tournaments, proving his skill. He just had the most points. You understand what I'm saying? So ultimately, it's kind of like, you know, is he really the best player in the world, or is he just the player in the world who has played the most amount of time? You know what I mean? Because it's
when
like,
you realize it's not as big of a feat, then it's like, okay, maybe he did do it.
So makes me wonder, did he even do it alone, or did he do the classic thing of, you know, Smurfs, having Smurfs play on his account? I'm not saying he's bad at the game. Again, you have to have some degree of skill to get into the #1 spot. You have to be getting a decent amount of kills per game to have enough points to be competitive. But it does seem like the #1 factor in getting to the top of the leaderboard would be playing the game for the most amount of time. So it's certainly not hard to imagine that he had to like employees or whatever, people playing on his account for him when he wasn't playing. But again, let me be perfectly clear about this also. This is pure speculation on my end. He was definitely capable of doing massive gaming sessions, as you saw in the video with the fucking like 12-hour timer on the other fucking monitor, you know what I mean?
It's just so perfectly like set up. It almost is a little too perfect.
He had the cake ready and everything. It's funny. Yeah, so in 2013, he was awarded by the Guinness World Record for longest multiplayer gaming session for playing Modern Warfare 3 for 36 hours and 15 minutes. Now, I think we all understand now, hopefully everyone understands, Guinness World Records are basically just some vanity bullshit you can pay a lot of money and get. It doesn't really mean anything. What do they monitor every gaming session in the world? I guarantee you, right as we are speaking, there is some fucking Korean teenager who's on a 48-hour StarCraft binge.
That's what I was actually going to bring up, is that there are these like computer cafes where people game for so long, they straight up just die of exhaustion.
So obviously, it's not the real world record, but it's proof that he can go on these massive gaming sessions. So on one hand, it's certainly plausible that he actually got to the #1 spot. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's impossible or anything like that, but here's the thing. These millionaires always want you to believe they're so rich because they work so hard or whatever. He's supposed to be like in charge of these fucking companies. Plus, he has like a wife and kids and shit. He has tens of millions of dollars in 30 classic cars. Wouldn't you want to spend some time doing shit like that too? You have to understand, he was the #1 player in the entire world. 15 million players. You know what I mean? He's competing against all the unemployed freaks of the world who genuinely do have nothing better to do than play COD all day. And if he wasn't smurfing, okay, presumably someone out there was fucking smurfing, you know, having multiple people on one account, playing 24 hours a day. And so he's beating all of them legit? Is that what I'm supposed to believe here?
I can believe it. I can believe that he's a gamer. I was convinced he was a gamer when he started talking about the Jews.
Anyways, okay, that whole rant set aside, according to someone on Reddit, they also would play ranked free-for-all COD, and they remember coming across and playing against Kim as Mega Racer, his Xbox Live gamer tag, and they claim he would play for 14 to 16 hours a day, and he was quite good. And they said they confirmed it was actually Kim by talking to him over voice chat and stuff like every day for a month. So that's what I'm trying to say, dude. Part of me actually can believe that he could do it, but then it's like, what's more embarrassing? That he paid Smurfs to do it, or that he actually did do it? At the end of the day, even if he was smurfing, even if I had conclusive proof he smurfed, like, who gives a shit? It's an in-game leaderboard. Who fucking gives a shit? It's nothing compared to actually cheating with like a wall hacks or like an aimbot or something, right? Well, there was a Kotaku article about his Modern Warfare 3 achievements, right? But in the comments of this Kotaku article, there were some old head Quake 2 players reminiscing about their experiences playing with Kim back in the day, going by the alias Kimball back then. And then Kotaku ended up publishing another article about the Kotaku comments on the previous article, because these comments were all talking about how much of a notorious cheater and a shithead he was back in the day. Here's one Reddit comment from someone. Let me preemptively say, I can't verify all these old comments, but the amount of these I'm going to show you has me leaning toward them probably being true. Back in the days of Quake 2 and the Barry's World free server network, .com used to troll the Rocket Arena 2 duel arenas as www.kimball.org with an aimbot on his 6 millisecond T1 line, raging people to the point that the entire server would clear rather than put up with him. Then one day he was face down and beaten by a girl gamer on a shitty BT ISDN line, one-on-one rail only. He raged so hard that he DC'd, looked up the player's name on Quake.net IRC, then DDoS'd the bork.co.uk IRC bouncer that she used offline. Having realized he'd accomplished nothing, he then proceeded to DDoS the entire Barry's World server array for a week out of petty vengeance for being made to look like a twat. Browse through the Planet Quake archives if you want to see the other shit he pulled, like banning the people that beat him in the leagues he adminned for Liga.net, 100% twat material. Here's another one from a different forum thread on another site. I'd be very surprised if anyone here was around at the time to remember him. He used to troll Barry's World, RE2, 1 and 2 in the graveyard shifts using his T1 fueled railbot, pissing off the regulars who used to dual rail only in the 1v1 arenas. He ended up DDoSing the entire server array and the bork.co.uk bouncer for like a week because he lost to Carla, who was playing on a shitty BTIS DN line at the time. We all lolled hard. I don't know what happened to him after that, but I believed he was involved in the Liga.net thing around the same time. Kimball was a cunt. End of. So I think that sort of corroborates what was going on here.
This is sad. I could look past everything, but dude.
At the end of the day, is it as immoral as like killing or stealing? Obviously no. It's because it's so petty and not important. If you're willing to cheat over something so minor as like just a video game online, it's such a fundamental exposure of your character as like a slimy piece of shit, in my opinion. Here's another quote from an old head. I remember him. I played him on Barry's World. Yeah, I'm that old. Just about the most blatant cheater you'd ever play. I got so pissed off at one point that I focused all my attention and managed to kill him once, which felt pretty good. His actual nick was www.kimball.org, which was some sort of huge ego website of him traveling around the world in luxury cars, jets, etc., squandering money he scammed off of some idiots during the .com boom. Needless to say, he was arrested for fraud sometime later. Anyway, the moral of the story is that the personality in-game isn't all that different outside the game.
That's like mask off Kim Dotcom is like when he's molding in fucking Quake.
He rage toggles. I'm not saying I have definitive proof that he cheated in Quake 2. It would be kind of crazy if I had something from 1998. There's only all these old testimonies. Okay, apparently someone says, I remember an episode of Pointless Audio where Captain Immy, Kevin Pereira, had a segment dedicated to talking about how much Kimball either ran or was a big part of an important Quake 2 duel ladder that had a North American and European ladder. Well, Kimball challenged the #1 player on the NA ladder, a Quake 2 legend named Immortal, to a duel, and then Kimball enabled a bot during the duel, Z-bot or Ratbot or something, and after still losing to Immortal while using a bot, he deleted Immortal off the ladder and also banned him or something. My memory is foggy, but I remember this pretty well since I loved Pointless Audio. So again, it's just the amount of fucking people having stories like this, you know what I mean? That's just the kind of thing I thought was interesting over here.
Imagine like you play on like a pub and then like there's just some asshole who comes in and just like is a sore loser banning everyone. And then like 10 years later, it's like the fucking feds raiding his house. That's weird.
Just one last thing. A source from 1998, a Planet Quake post that sort of corroborates the previous thing, which is Liga.net, the once somewhat respected Quake 2 one-on-one league, is having some issues. Kimball, league organizer, reportedly lost a match to highly skilled Immortal and proceeded to kick him out of the league and accuse him of using a bot. Others in the league that spoke out against Kimball were kicked out as well. The IRC log listed earlier has since been removed. So again, That's just a primary source from 1998 that's also talking about it.
I think this is the same site Lotax wrote for. They could have run into each other.
I can't personally verify the authenticity of these comments, but they seem to ring true based on everything we know about Mr. Dotcom and his personality type. I'm convinced he probably cheated in Quake 2. Did he smurf to the top of the Modern Warfare leaderboard? Maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know about that one. Probably, but I don't know. I can't say for sure. And I do believe he probably was good at that game. But it seems like he was a little shithead in Quake 2. Case closed.
He couldn't take not being the best.
And as we all know, being a cheater in video games is the worst crime possible, therefore, he's been exposed.
Absolute fraud! Kim Dotcom exposed!
Exactly. Fuck, I should have made a whole Carl Jobst fucking video exposing his ass or something. Fuck, I've ruined it. There's just one little quote. Okay, so there's a lot of fucking articles about this guy. There's just one fluff piece that wasn't that interesting about how he met his wife. But there was a line here where he's like, I've not betrayed her once. And I can't say that of any other relationship I've had. I would never do it because I found my soulmate and the love of my life. He's just like openly admitting he's cheated in every single relationship he's ever had. That's just a testament to the kind of quality of his character, I should say. Anyways, I can't remember if I explicitly said this or I just sort of hinted at it earlier, so I don't even know how based or unbased my take is, but despite Kim Dotcom genuinely seeming like your classic slimy piece of shit, I really don't think he should be extradited to the US or face decades in prison over some music piracy type bullshit. The US government, suck my nuts, you're never gonna get me to side with the RIAA over this stuff. The whole point of this episode was just, I've always known about Kim Dotcom. In my mind, everyone knows about Kim Dotcom, and I like bring him up and people are like, who? And I'm like, oh yeah, only weirdos like me know about this guy. I just wanted to make this episode so more people would know who he is, know about him, know the story.
It's a great story. He's a really interesting guy. I didn't really know that much about him, but I don't know, look, love or hate him, I feel like he's faked it till he made it, basically.
It seems like it's just ego crap, but like, you know, making that level of like posturing in real life gave him like business opportunities and stuff. So like he kind of knew what he was doing.
He did become that important of a figure at a certain point, just by nature of placing himself and like knowing the right people to get to do the job.
He was definitely a guy in the right place at the right time, and he with the Megaupload stuff.
He needs to get his freaking optics checked, okay? If he wants to get pardoned, he needs to shut up about the protocols of Zion, okay?
True.
He just needs to get off Twitter and keep playing video games. Okay.
He's not entirely unlike Notch in some ways, I guess you could say, who should also get off Twitter and just play video games.
Well, Notch is the real deal. Okay, he did actually program his stuff at least.
He made billions and he never got raided by the fucking feds.
That's true. That would have been fucking tragic. The FBI raid footage, they're like, get on the ground! Just fucking shoot his candy wall.
FBI raid footage on Notch. He's like dumping buckets of fucking lava at them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Kim Dotcom episode. We have some fucking fan art. It's been so long since last episode, so we have a good amount of fan art. I apologize if we don't get to yours, if I missed it. I just searched the fucking hashtag NETLORE. Please post your fan art under the hashtag NETLORE. I don't even like hashtags, but it makes it easy to find them.
I will say one thing that is probably worth mentioning, which is Lotax's suicide note has leaked publicly.
It has? I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently someone filed for like the police reports or something. Someone found it on Kiwi Farms, they leaked it, and
there's your Lotax update. Me and Bernie thought we were special because we were like two of the only people who had a chance to read it.
I guess to kind of explain what happened is after we made the Lotax documentary, we were reached out to by some people close to him, and they had access to that kind of material. So we were sent it, and we were actually given permission to release it, but it's a very depressing note. It doesn't really say much new.
We were gonna do a Lotax another follow-up, but yeah, it was a very depressing thing. He doesn't take any responsibility in his last moments, and it's like, what do I even want to say about that? Hey, say what you want about Kim Dotcom. You know what's funny? I almost, in an earlier draft, I almost mentioned Lotax just because of changing your name to .com is so weird. It's up there with changing your middle name to Lotax in order to win an election, which is what the guy did who inspired Lotax to take the name Lotax.
But yeah, all right. Well, there's that update.
I didn't know that. That was breaking news to me.
For some reason, I just assumed we talked about it or something. But
all right, let's check out some of this sick fan art because there is some good stuff. There's some good stuff we had in the minor period of time between episodes, not that long.
I actually have not seen like most of these because I've been off Twitter.
You see this first one? Jello does stuff. Island NETLORE. Can't wait for the next episode 2050. A little off, but we'll get there. Just 25 years off. But yeah, old Bernie and old cybershell. It's a classic look. This is exactly what it would look like. I like that you're almost like a Mr. Rogers-esque old man, and I'm just like this fucking beast. Just this beast with a walker.
Beast and a walker and big white underpants.
And the big tiny whiteys. It's classic. I love that one. That one's great. I almost forgot I said, yeah, this episode's sponsored by 9/11 in that last episode, because I was just coming up with fake sponsors, and I thought 9/11 would be the best one. That was a classic moment. For some reason, the one that gets me here is just the saluting, crying Bernie.
You know, I have to pay respects to all the people that we lost on 9/11.
All the people me and you personally lost.
I guess we're sponsored by it, so I guess...
Yeah, it wasn't entirely clear what that meant, if we were sponsored by the act or like what. You know what? The beauty is in not knowing. Now, below this is some sick fucking 3D...
Yeah, holy shit.
This is fan art from 2024 that I completely missed. I don't know how, I just completely... I guess because I don't think I got tagged in it.
I never saw this. This is really fucking cool.
Yeah, I never saw it until I was doing a fan art roundup yesterday. But no, this one's sick as hell. This could be a real magazine ad. We should take out a magazine ad and just put this shit in there. Do podcasts do magazine ads? It feels like that might be kind of a weird... I think there's better places to advertise.
Shout out to Pajama Fricks, because I think it's really cool that the artwork, the composition, it's inspired by the Newgrounds one, which I remember doing, which is like attention to detail. It's sick.
Sick.
I love the fucking tank. It looks great.
This one, I remember this fan art, because remember we were talking about NETLORE After Dark. We should make that like a real thing. What would that even be, though? I don't understand. We look at fucking, Rotten.org? We look at gore?
I've written about Rotten for someone else's channel.
They're an interesting site.
I did the history of live leak sites so long ago now. It's like, they're not a thing anymore. They're like, well, they are, but... I feel like now there's not really a site.
There was a time where I feel like WorldStar was the last one where you could post anything on, and then I don't even think that exists anymore, so.
Now it's just Twitter. Now it's just Twitter at violent fights.
Fuck, I guess you're right. I guess Twitter is the new WorldStar. Yeah, you can just post like fucking pictures of war zones, fucking whatever, you know what I mean?
It's Jesus, yeah.
So Twitter is worse than fucking Rotten could ever be. I'll put it that way. Especially too, because when Rotten, at least when you go there, you were like going there, you know what I mean? You went to a separate site and you knew what you were getting into, hopefully.
You knew what you were doing.
It wasn't like you were just browsing fucking like Facebook or Newgrounds, all of a sudden, boom, unknown Russian soldier video or some shit, you know what I mean?
Even though there's less of those sites now, the internet's actually a lot darker.
Somehow it is, but I love this pic. I don't know why. I always love when anyone ever draws like just a computer with like the tabs and the everything.
What's the date? 2013? Damn. I wish we were going since 2013. Imagine.
Anyways, that one's sick. And then we have another piece of art from Ultra Risen. I like their little guys. I also like our little guys, our little critters. You look like a white mage, and I kind of look like a Garfield over here.
I love it. It's very early Adult Swim feeling. Kind of reminds me of Dr. Katz and stuff. It's really cool.
If I draw them enough, will the pod come back? Maybe.
No, it will not.
And then I also love Lexi Kite Star, us smoking out of the NETLORE bong.
The NETLORE bong.
We gotta make that real.
Man, if you want some really cool, like funny looking bongs, look up like the Cartman bong. It's like made out of glass. It's so dope.
I never get tired of novelty bongs. We gotta do a NETLORE episode on bongs, the bong lore.
There's a lot of smoke shops just so you'll go there, and there's always like, the novelty bongs, and there's a lot of funny ones and a lot of cool ones that I've taken photos of.
Imagine like the most talented glass blower in the world who could like make pieces of art. It's like, we got another commission, another Rick and Morty fucking Pickle Rick bong, and he's just like, ugh.
I would be so hyped. It's like a little cybershell ceramic head.
But the last piece of fan art, when it happens to record an episode on a full moon, I gotta say, I love the Werehog cybershell classic bit. We're talking about fucking just tabloid news. The Yeti Bernie, I know I always say I like the Bernie one more, but the Yeti Bernie design is just classic. That is so good. I guess it's supposed to be a werewolf. To me, he's Yeti Bernie.
No, I think Yeti's way more fitting. It reminds me of the Battle Block Theater Little Mammoth guys.
That's pretty much all we got for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Did you want to mention that we have merch? We actually there's actual, honest to God, real NETLORE merch you can actually buy for real. Shirts and a hat.
Yes. So if you can't see it on screen, we are selling t-shirts designed by our podcast artist, Miho/politebaby. Amazing artist. And we have these 2 shirts designs that this is print on demand. We do want to eventually get better fabric and everything. We just need to gauge how much interest there is.
Trust me, they're good. Like, I'm a little picky. Like, I buy a lot of random crap shirts from the internet. A lot of time, like, the design is cool, but the material is just like, oh, this is not gonna be comfortable to wear. At least the sample shirts they sent me they're definitely comfortable enough to wear.
We did quite a bit of sampling just to make sure.
I love the chainsaw, we were just talking about fucking unknown Russian soldier video. The thing that looks like it should be on fucking Live Leak or Rotten. The decapitation preempting with the chainsaw. Classic. Love it. But I have to say, the net bears, I think that design is the real star here.
I love the net bears.
I don't know. We never really talked about them because this is like a design that we've had for like ages, but like finally it's on merch now.
Yeah, so we've had the designs for a bit. I was just worried. I don't want to sell people t-shirts and the designs start wearing off quickly or it's uncomfortable.
If I wouldn't wear the shirt, I wouldn't want to sell it. And I'm not like saying it has to be the most comfortable shirt of all time here, but I'm just saying it has to be at least a somewhat nice material.
We kind of want to turn the t-shirt thing into a little bit of something where it's not necessarily podcast related merch stuff.
It doesn't just scream, hey, I'm a podcast. Things that you would want to wear anyways. I don't know if we have them yet, but you were talking about maybe wanting to do stickers too.
Yeah, we have stickers. We have NetBear stickers. We have hats too. of little the NETLORE guys. Again, shout out to our podcast starter, politebaby. He did the art for this episode. He also does art for a lot of our episodes.
Oh yeah, normally we don't have the art done before we record, but this time we do. And I gotta say, I love the art of us standing next to Kim with the car. Great art this episode. Great art all the time. I mean, I was already telling Bernie, it's like, we gotta get motivated to do more NETLORE just so we can get more cool art from our artist friends.
It's true. Like, he's a goat. He's a goat. He designed the NETLORE logo, and that logo is, I mean, look, I'm not trying to glaze him so much, but that shit's iconic. That shit, to me, like, feels like some Alfred E. Newman kind of shit.
Yeah, he's definitely the kind of guy who can just instantly pop out some, like, iconic-ass design. Like, if I had to make the NETLORE logo, it would have been, like, the shittiest, like, NL in some shitty font. It would have been horrible. For my main channel, I really do basically almost everything myself. I don't know why. I'm just in my little zone. Like, I have to do everything myself. But with this stuff, it's easier to, like, just get people who know more about shit, like art and audio, to do stuff for us. And it's like, wow, collaborating with other people is actually like really useful and a great process.
Oh no, yeah, dude, the low tax video I always remember, dude. That was such a fun like collaboration process. I mean, that's literally the impetus for this podcast.
The first episode, we're like, this podcast doesn't even make sense if you don't watch the fucking low tax video. It's just weird to me to imagine that there's like actual fans of NETLORE who like found us through NETLORE. Like, I don't think that should be possible, but I guess it might be. We'll see. Well, hopefully that's the dream, right? To have the fucking stupid podcast pop off or whatever. But it's still weird to imagine.
It's definitely more likely for me because I feel like you definitely bring in kind of more of the people. I've never even promoted fucking NETLORE on my channel. It's kind of stupid, but I'm just like, well, I did. I made a post, but I never made a video or anything.
I never know how much people actually see those YouTube posts. Like, I'm sure they do, but I don't know. I'm not a YouTube community poster. Not because I don't like it. I just don't ever remember to do it, really.
I just don't upload it as much, so it's just kind of, if I uploaded a video that was just like chilling, I'd feel a little weird.
No, I know the same way. There were times where I wanted to make an update video, but it had been so long since I posted a real video that it was like, I can't come back with an update video, you know what I mean? Or you can just shove it at the end of another video. Next time you make a video, just shout out NETLORE at the end. Who gives a shit? It'll be fine. Hopefully we're back, guys. I don't want to make any promises, but like, I specifically told Bernie, I don't want to just come back for one episode and then disappear again. So hopefully we'll be back for at least a little while.
I've got ideas. Don't worry, folks. And yeah, I think since the last time we made an episode, I actually did upload for the first time in like 2 years, which was Fritz the Cat video. It's just about Fritz the Cat, this underground comics character.
Anytime you do anything, YouTube is like, nope, and they fuck you over, and you have to like re-upload that video to your own website. I thought you did a pretty good job censoring anything in that video that needed to be censored. Obviously, some of the subject material was a little racy, but like,
I showed some nipples, I showed some dicks, I showed some things, but here's the thing. The reason I thought it was okay is because there's videos by like institutions on YouTube that show the same art that I showed uncensored.
Yeah, but they have more cred than you. We're getting to the point where you're not gonna be allowed to show Michelangelo's fucking David on YouTube, okay?
Let me explain the epic punishing. So this is actually the 10-year anniversary, not today, I don't think, but this month is the 10-year anniversary of when I made my YouTube channel, like the original Bedhead Bernie channel.
OG Bedhead Bernie, the fucking clock man. The OG fans know about it, okay?
When I never used my voice because I was like a squeaker.
When you never use your voice, you only got friends to do the things for you because what? Because you were fucking 12?
Some people wish I still did that, but listen, they can suck on it, okay? But listen, because I was demonetized at one point and because I got a video taken down, I have been denied my YouTube play button, okay? I reached 100K.
All right.
And, thank you, everybody. It's like, I did.
Bernie told me about this, and he's like, I don't want to make a stink. I was like, I'll make a stink for you. This is bullshit. They literally told you, like, no, you're not allowed to have a silver fucking plaque, okay?
Yeah, I talked to them over chat support. I talked to people who have connects there, and so, yeah, I can't get it. And look, I didn't even give a fuck about it, but now that I can't have it, now I want it because it's like
bullshit. I told Bernie specifically once NETLORE hits 100K, we're getting NETLORE to 100K just so we can get that plaque and send that one to Bernie. I think you can tell them what you want to inscribe on. You can just tell them to inscribe fucking Bedhead Bernie on it. I don't even give a shit. Hey, if you're an up-and-coming YouTuber and you're like, I can't wait to get my silver plaque one day, just remember, YouTube can just decide you don't get one for no fucking reason.
Listen, guys, I've been on this platform for 10 years. I've made so many shitty videos. I've written so many shitty videos for everyone. It's like, come on.
You also do the thing where you're like, you had your original Bedhead Bernie account, which had a good amount of subs, and then you had to hop onto a new account, and then that one...
Okay, to be fair, I didn't have to do that. I just chose to do that because I felt kind of pigeonholed in.
Right, yeah, I get it. Yeah, with the cartoon content or whatever.
Which is funny because I've just gone back. You know, I've talked about true crime, cartoons, movies, anything. That's what I wanted, to restart with. But anyways, who gives a fuck? No,
I think that's bullshit, dude. Fuck YouTube. It's not even like they gave you some good reason.
Well, it's because my channel wasn't in good standing for a year, so it's just...
It wasn't in good standing for no reason, though.
And my next video, it has content that it's like so edgy that it's probably gonna get me banned or removed, so I'm making an uncensored cut first, then I'm gonna go back through, censor everything.
I feel bad because I make fucking videos about baby games like Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't have to worry about my channel getting demonetized because I'm talking about like serious shit, like fucking real life events, and I don't even want to say stuff like that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, just reality. I don't know, it's just fucking dumb. What is the logic behind this? People are just gonna talk about these things anyway. They're just using shitty euphemisms. It's just like making the conversation so much less serious.
I can't wait till we get to the point where so many people say unalive that they start banning people for saying that. You know what I mean?
They actually started rolling it back this year with so I don't know if this is true, but I did read...
Someone must understand how stupid it is. I'm not trying to make too big a deal of this, but like it's literally like affecting like language. Like the little fucking Zoomers and Gen Alphas are like, they don't even say, when they're talking in privately, not on a publicly monetized video, they'll still say shit like unalive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Or PDF file.
It's really sad. I really don't like it because... I mean, obviously, on one hand, it's annoying, but beyond that, it's like it's the implications, you know? It's
these cutesy euphemisms for the most serious shit you can possibly talk about. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know.
That's when he unalived his entire family and then committed sewer slide.
Am I right in thinking that sort of mostly came from TikTok because they would like ban you if you said that, or not ban you, but delete your videos and whatnot?
Yes, yeah. It was primarily TikTok, which has a lot stricter and arbitrary rules. That it's a lot easier to get just wiped off there.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this YouTube complaining YouTubers always complain about YouTube. It's one of the constants of life. Hope you enjoyed the YouTube complaining tangent.
Yeah, the classic. This is the thing. I always like, I don't want to bitch about it, but I do bitch about it because it's just...
It's very easy to bitch about, trust me. Like, there's a lot to bitch about.
I don't know. At the end of the day, like, I don't put as much stock into my channel as I used to just because I'm not as active on it.
It's good to diversify. Plus, I mean, you have, like, artistic skills and other stuff, too. I more have all my eggs in one basket with the YouTube thing.
I think it's just more, it feels very symbolic that after 10 years of making just fucking dog shit on this platform, it's like, you don't even get the fucking, you don't get it.
Die. YouTube just hates you for no reason, for literally no reason, for daring to make content about things like Kurt Cobain of all, which is like, that's not like some crazy true crime shit, dude. It's like, come on.
That's the thing. We need a platform that's not YouTube, that's not fucking...
Well, like, shout it out, dude. Like you said, you were going to uncensored cut of your next video, and you can watch the uncensored Fritz on your personal website, right?
Yeah, so what I'm using on and this is actually pretty cool tech, but it's also, the way I did it is probably not the most secure way to do it. Yeah, I'm using an instance of PeerTube, which is this, like, decentralized version of YouTube. You can just set it up yourself, and then you can basically just host videos on it. It's really easy to use. What I like about it is that if you use it with Host, which is kind of basically you can rent like a digital server, you can easily set it up and you can get your own personal YouTube thing where you can upload whatever you want to it. It's not like perfect, but it's really, really cool.
I know this is hard to believe for some of the younger viewers out there, but you used to be able to have your own website and you could upload any videos you wanted on it, and it didn't even matter if it had copyrighted material unless you got like a letter in the mail or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you just have your own website and you can put whatever you want on there, right? Isn't that crazy? What a crazy novel concept on the internet.
Look, guys, I need a web designer. If you're a web designer, email the NETLORE podcast because I actually do.
Dude, we should have an awesome NETLORE site. What the hell are we thinking? We're complete frauds for being like, we love NETLORE, we love the internet and lore, and we love websites. Then we just have a shitty YouTube channel.
Well, if somebody wants to help, you can reach out. Also,
look, I've never been a programmer. I know how to make a website in HTML, okay, but you don't want to see the kind of website I would be making.
I remember using Dreamweaver. And also, Tumblr had custom HTTPS, so you could actually just build a website off Tumblr without even having like any blog post or anything.
God, sites used to be customizable too. Not to go on this whole rant, but you used to be able to like update your own YouTube page to have your custom backgrounds and shit. All sorts of crazy shit.
I miss being able to play music on like the profile. I don't know. That was really cool.
I remember MySpace had a really robust music player. That was like one of the few things that site had going for it that Facebook didn't have for a while. Okay, now I'm just exposing myself as being ancient. All right, we got to end this episode. Thank you for listening to the Kim Dotcom / complaining about YouTube episode. NETLORE's back, baby. Oh yeah, and if you guys don't buy 10,000 shirts, the podcast is over.
We're not coming back. This podcast is canceled if we don't hit 10,000 sales.
I'm not doing the podcast until I'm out walking about in public just randomly and I see someone in a NETLORE shirt.
That'd be cool. Man, it's a scary thought of like imagining you're out in public and you just see like the chainsaw shirt and it's like
I've probably probably walked past someone who is like in like Seattle or something, like someone who's like seen my videos, but like I'm not like on camera a lot, so I don't have anyone ever like stop me like, are you cybershell? Holy shit, that would be embarrassing.
Have you ever seen someone in public that you didn't go up to them, but you knew you saw them?
Not like in public randomly, but like at like a con or something, you know what I mean? I see people that I recognize from the internet, and I'm gonna be honest, I usually am a little like I'll timidly not go up to them and be like, I don't want to bother them unless it's like, you know, a meet and greet type situation.
That's fair.
I would just be at cons and I would see like guys from Mega 64 walk by and be like, wow, I know that guy. I mean, I just was walking by their booth earlier, but like, wow.
It is fucking surreal. Like
it's weird, dude. It's weird seeing people in real life that you only know from a screen.
Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
All right.
NETLORE.
Yeah, whatever. Thank you.
Back.
NETLORE back.
2025.
Episode over.
Bye.
Goodbye. 2025. Bye.